In this week's episode of One Piece, Monkey D. Luffy gets trapped in Treble's sticky pants. I could have worded that a lot better. Let's try that again. In this week's episode of One Piece, Trebol goes on the attack as he plans to destroy Trafalgar Law in a massive explosion. But what he's gonna get instead is a flashback to the ass and a sword to the face. Oh yes, there was lots of mucusy madness in this week's episode, and lots of Trebol laughing like a moron. But you know what? It was worth it, because when Trafalgar Law finally attacked him at the very end of the episode, was that not just, oh, so satisfying? So this week's episode had some pretty great action going for it, but it also had some pretty cool backstory for Doflamingo and the Don Quixote crime family, just getting to see him sort of become the leader of the group, and how basically the four executives would do anything for him. Doflamingo scrapes his knee, burn the town down! Basically, this scene just drives home the fact that the Don Quixote crime family is really notorious, incredibly malicious, and frankly, just kind of psychotic. Trebol in particular, who in many ways is kind of like the mastermind behind the entire organization, so much so that he considers himself on equal footing with Doflamingo, but however, it's when his head starts to get big, this is what leads to his demise, because he starts to use his mucus and trap Trafalgar Law, and he gets really pissed by him, walks into his room, and that's when he finally gets defeated when Trafalgar Law summons his hand, which is still holding a sword, which slashes right through his stomach, and that causes him to lose all of his mucus power, and you get to see his real body for the first time, and dude's just super slim. Looks like Dalsim from Street Fighter. But Trebol's not gonna go out like some punk-ass bitch. He decides he's gonna take him out with him, so he takes out his staff, which has a lighter at the end of it, and plans to blow him up along with everyone else. But Trebol just ends up getting defeated, Trafalgar Law is saved by Nico Robin, and Luffy and Doflamingo prepare for their final battle. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of One Piece? This one right here will be defined by the defeat of Trebol, and it has been a long time coming. For the last couple of months, all we've been hearing is his ridiculous laughter and watching Doflamingo beat the ever-living shit out of Trafalgar Law, and it's finally time to move on from that. The best part of this episode, without a doubt, I have to say, is the scene with Law actually using that attack with his hand still attached to the sword. It completely caught Trebol off guard and really messed him up. So much so that he couldn't even use his Devil Fruit powers, so you can see that that was a very devastating technique. Trebol himself also demonstrated that he has to have some sort of power, just the way he sort of pushed Doflamingo around this week and didn't allow him to get in the way of his madness. He really wanted to take out Trafalgar Law in this week's episode, but of course that ended up being his greatest weakness and luring him right into a trap. The build-up with Luffy, though, that's like the thing that I just cannot wait to see. Just more of their battle, which is going to be expanding in the next couple of episodes. There's really nothing else to get in the way of it now, so let's get excited. This week's episode was actually pretty good. There were a few too many flashbacks for my liking, and of course, the pacing, as always, is very slow for the anime version of the series, but there were some really great moments from this episode, some really iconic moments, especially from Trafalgar Law, and it's the defeat of Trebol, which is a very big deal, so I still think this was a pretty great episode, but not a perfect one. So I'm going to give this week's episode of One Piece a 4 out of 5. Check it out, One Piece fans! You might see something you like. But, of course, if you did watch this week's episode, make sure to tell me what you thought about it in the comment section below. What did you think about the defeat of Trebol? Were you a fan of that character in general? Are you ready for the battle between Luffy and Doflamingo? What do you want to see from the rest of the Dressrosa arc in the One Piece anime series? Please tell me in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching this review. Make sure to like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby!